In this video, we're going to be looking at one pose that can counteract the effects on the body for prolonged periods of sitting. So for most of us, we live in a world really where most of the hours of the day are spent in this position. In fact, we most likely drive to work in luxury wheelchairs, and then we get out of there only to find ourselves in front of a computer with maybe an office chair that has wheels. So for that matter, we're probably living in a wheelchair for most of the day by choice, not because we necessarily have to. So when that occurs, often the spine begins to flex forward and the head drops forward toward the laptop screen. The shoulders round forward, and a lot of the muscles in our body begin to lengthen because we're pulling ourselves deeper into that position. And that lengthening aspect of the muscles gets trained to become normal so that when we try and go to stand, it doesn't happen as readily. So other muscles begin to take on more work, and the next thing you know, prolonged periods of sitting are going to create more compensatory action no matter what we do throughout the rest of the day. And this can lead to a lot of problems. For instance, carpal tunnel, tennis elbow, neck pain, low back pain, hip issues, sciatic pain. These are all a big part of our musculoskeletal system being out of alignment. So here's one way that we're going to counteract the effects of sitting. It's quite simple. All you'll need is maybe a small elevated platform. In this case, I'm using a little step here, and for comfort, I put a little bit of a cushion down on it. Now, at home, you could use a couple of phone books or tomes of some sort, or if you've got a recessed living room, maybe kneeling on the steps and lowering down onto the living room floor. For instance, to start with, we'll have you place your knees nice and parallel from left to right, as well as not being too far apart or too close together. So if you took a line down the mid-thigh for both legs, they should be parallel. And then what you'll be doing is kneeling on this object, you're going to position yourself so that your hands are directly below the shoulders. Now the hips will be slightly in front of the knees so that the weight of the body is being driven down and forward. And as you are in this position, you're from this position lowering yourself down onto your elbows and forearms, preferably with your palms face up, as well as pulling the wrists apart so that they're parallel with the elbows also. In this position, you're going to drop your head toward the floor, and if you can, try and sink your body so that the top of your head rests on the ground. And just maintain this posture for maybe a minute or so. Allow your spine to kind of sink into the shoulder blades. Allow your head to drop to open up the neck. The lower back is going through a state of traction because the weight of your torso is not compressing down on it. Instead, the hips are pulling back slightly while the head is dropping down. So we begin to see some spinal traction occur. After you've done this for about a minute or so, take your time coming up because you may be a little dizzy with your head hanging low. So sit for just a little bit and then go ahead and stand up and walk around and see how that feels. What we've done is we've taken that compressed spine that is flexed forward and extended it and created some length through the space in between each vertebrae. The weight of your head, 10 pounds or so, is pulling downward toward the ground to open up the neck. The shoulders are being pulled back because the spine is sinking in between the shoulder blades. There's a lot of opposites that occur in that modified shoulder stand. Now you may say, well, I do some version of that in my yoga class where I put my feet up on the wall and I'm completely inverted. Well, that's great, but for many people, that have spent hours and hours in a seated position to go into that inverted shoulder stand may be a little bit too much too soon. So modifying it to this position with the weight of the body supported with this little step and on the ground is a much nicer progression that you can always get higher and higher platforms to kneel upon to make it a little bit more intense. As time goes by, see if you can add maybe an inch or two every couple of weeks until you get ready to get into those yogic poses. But try these out to start with, and you might find that after just a minute of doing this, that when you walk around, your shoulders feel like they're pulled back, your posture is improved, your lower back is feeling good, you're more grounded yet lighter at the same time. Try it out, let me know how it goes.